Today we're going to have a look at KODAK info input solution and how its classification and extraction indexing functionality works, and how we can apply that to a specific set of documents that we've trained the system's AI to recognize, then classify and extract specific information based on that classification. So the first thing I want to do is have a look at one of the jobs and just give you a bit of an inside view on how the classifier works and what it's actually doing. So what we're looking at here is the test and classification window, where we would define different document types. Like, for instance, I've defined a pathology report and a folder cover and a patient registration detail form, and for each one we've supplied a few training images. This is a limited sample set that we have here, but it will illustrate the point. So for the pathology report, we've got a few different kinds. There's a couple of different, slightly different formats. The folder covers look all more or less the same, and the patient registration detail forms are fairly much the same as well. So what we can do is we can run the test on that, and with the test what we do is we supply to it a bunch of mixed samples of all the different document types mixed together, and we run all the classifiers at the same time. It steps through and it gives us an idea of the percentage of confidence that it has that it's made a successful match, and tells us what it believes that particular document type is. So we can see the first ones, it's picked up that we are looking at pathology reports, and it's telling us that we have quite a high confidence that it is a pathology report and that's not a patient registration form or a folder cover or something else. And we can see here we've picked up some folder covers, and again the confidence level is quite high. That's another folder cover, there's another pathology report. If a document doesn't classify, if it falls below the specified threshold, it's rejected, and then within the indexing section you get a chance to classify it manually before it goes any further in the process, so that it does not get lost. And we've got small pathology reports and patient registration forms, and we can see that this test was passed relatively well. So what I'm going to do now is close this off, and I'm going to open up the actual scanning job, and we can run some mixed samples through the job and then have a look and see how it actually classifies those. So I'm going to choose here, we're going to scan. I'm not actually scanning documents, so I don't have a scanner with me, so I'm just importing images that will appear as if they have been scanned. In the scanning process, no classification and no separation happens. We then just close the batch with the raw images in it. And then if we step across to our batch manager, we can see it's in the processing mode. And in a moment, there we go, it's gone into classify mode. It's now stepping through the images one at a time. It's looking at each one, analyzing it and classifying it and applying the correct classification to it. In a moment or two, that will step across to extraction, where it will then take the specific index set that is assigned to each classification, and it will apply those classifications and extract the information that we've asked for. Okay, we've gone across to the extraction step. This all happens on the server, not on the actual person's workstation that's working, and this can again be broken up into different steps for different users. So one user can be sitting and scanning in information. The server will then sit and do the classification and the extraction, and then the next part of the process would be checking the indexes and actually pushing the information onwards to open text. and that can be done by different people. The same user does not have to perform that function. So as soon as this batch is ready, when the extraction is finished, we can open the batch and then have a look and see how successful the information extraction was. Okay, the batch is now ready. Let's go on to the final step, which is indexing. So we can open the batch. The first thing we see is the batch summary, and I've set up some index fields here that we can use as well, such as the scan date, the name of the operator that did the scanning, how many pages were scanned, the name of the job, the computer name where the work was done, and the name of the user actually logged on to the PC doing the work. This information you can also pass across to a database, so you can see who was scanning, how much they scanned, and when, so you can keep an analysis on your workflow and how much productivity is happening. We can then pop the batch open and start having a look at the documents. You see this one classified as a pathology report, and it applied the index lab number, and it applied this OCR zone that I specified, and it read back to us the number. Step down and just have a look at a few of the others and see that they were also successful. Okay, there's quite a few of the pathology reports. Let's jump ahead a bit. We can have a look. Here's a patient registration detail form. So it's applied the different field, index field to that, with a different OCR zone, looking in a different area of the form, and it's picked up the patient number. Step down a bit further, we've got a folder cover that was classified as a folder cover, so it's applied a different index value and a different OCR zone. This is looking at the sticker on the front of the folder cover, and it's tried to OCR the values that are in there. I still need to add some code just to flip that by 90 degrees so that text will read properly. But yeah, that's basically achieved the intended result, that we've classified the forms correctly. We've applied a different index field based on what the classification was. So from there, once they've checked everything and they're happy that the indexes are correct, you can complete the batch, close the batch, and that will push it straight on to open text. I'm just going to remove this batch, and then the last thing I would like to show you is how we can do text recognition or search for a specific word or phrase within a page and actually match that and then extract a value that sits next to that. So I'm going to create another batch here using the tester for the regular expression matching, and I'm going to feed this some samples as well, just a few. I'm using the outpatient attendance form for this. I'm going to go directly to the indexing section, and what I've told this job to do is to look specifically for the word patient space NO, and then to return the number that follows that. So if we look at the first document, you can see the index field is OCRing this entire area here. It then searches for the word patient NO, and then it returns just the number that sits behind that, which is the patient number. The second index field OCRs this area of the form. It looks specifically for the words date and time, and then it returns the date and time that sit behind it. In this case, I've not let it strip out the prefix. We can take that out if we want to. And that one has recognized itself as well. And the third one has also, hold on, let me just go back. The third one has done the same thing. So I hope you've enjoyed a look at how the classification and extraction process works on info input, and we can look further at that. I hope this is heading in the right direction.